goes back to this kind of societal thing where we obviously, the way we remember, we all, very aware of the atrocities of the Holocaust and that period of time, and that's most vivid in people's memories.
Yeah, out of which comes the very concept of genocide and of crimes against humanity. Both those concepts are actually coined by lawyers, international human rights lawyers, in the wake of the Holocaust, specifically because of that experience.
But I do think that, like, I mean, we've briefly touched upon it in another episode, but I think where you mentioned, like, kind of our capacity to process atrocities.
Yeah.
And when you mention genocide, people naturally think of the Holocaust because it was the most atrocious, atrocity that there could have ever been. And that's very forefront in people's minds when that word is evoked. But I also think that the byproduct of that is that people almost seem to think that, okay, well, that the Holocaust is genocide, and it's like, well, that doesn't happen anymore. We don't.
That
doesn't happen anymore.
That was then, and this is now.
Yeah, like we don't live in a world where that happens now because surely if that was happening, we'd all stop it.
Yeah.
And I think we asked the question quite a lot about, why did no one act to stop it?
Yeah.
They knew it was the Allies knew it was happening.
American planes were flying over,
and they refused. And
the Jews were looking up, going, "Oh, here they are! They're going to come and save us."
But they refused to. They didn't bomb the railways that led to the camps. They didn't bomb any of the logistics. Of the stuff.
Well, there's a Polish. So there's a great film called Shoah, which is a 9-hour Holocaust documentary by French filmmaker Claude Lanzmann. It's sort of the film. If you're gonna go there, it's the film to do it with. But he made lots of other, because it's so huge and he recorded so much material. There are other little films that surround it, kind of in a sort of satellites to this larger film. One of which is called the Jan Karski report. So Jan Karski is this Polish diplomat who is sent around. He's sent to the Warsaw Ghetto to see firsthand how appalling the conditions are, and so there's a rabbi showing. He reports that there's a rabbi showing around, and it's truly horrific the stuff he's seeing and describing. But they deliberately show him all of this to send him to America, to Washington. So he is sent, and he sits in front of Roosevelt and tells him what he has seen, and says, Mr. Roosevelt, you must do something about this. And Roosevelt sort of nods and says, he says gets all the usual sort of platitudes about this is all terrible and we must do something and yada yada yada.
And then of course, doing something, so
and then of course,
just don't do anything.
Silence, after that. But no, again, brilliant.
But again, like just on the point, like. We always talk about it as like, we wouldn't ever let this happen. Like, how could the world have let this happen back then? And the reality is that it's been happening many times since, but we've still chosen not to act.
Yeah.
In a lot of cases, we haven't acted.